What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Rex Righteous, and I'm back with a RafRant. Alright, so this past weekend, we had a fight between Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev for all the light heavyweight titles, excluding the WBC. I mean, you had a bunch of people there to watch the fight. A lot of boxing stars, and everybody was watching. I mean, most boxing stars were watching this fight, even if they weren't there. This was a big fight for HBO, a great showing for Rock Nation, Andre Ward's team, and Sergey Kovalev in main events. So I just wanted to go over some of the scores that I had because I rewatched the fight. And originally, when I first watched it, there was a lot going on. I was trying to stream online, and there was a lot going on with Facebook at the time. So if you know me and you know what I was doing on Facebook, basically you understand what I'm trying to say. But I saw the fight all the way through. I didn't have a problem. There were people that were having a problem, and they were hitting me up. So there were some issues there. I wish I could have watched it in HD, but I watched it in good enough fashion where I could see everything clearly. And the only thing I missed was like the first 30 seconds when Andre Ward came out, viciously. And he tried to come at Kovalev like if he was going to destroy him or something. But right away, I saw that Kovalev was confident. His body language was really good. And Ward, he looked a little slower. He didn't look like he wanted to use a jab too much, and he was just really standing in front of Kovalev. And to be honest with you, at that point, I was thinking, man, Ward, I respect him because he's here to fight. He's at least gonna, try, And rewatching it, I had the overhead view. I'm going to try to put it in the description. But first round, I gave it to Kovalev. Of course, I also gave the second round to Kovalev because he had that knockdown, which I thought was an amazing knockdown because both fighters basically try to come at each other with the same punch, and Kovalev won that little battle. He connected better, and it was just a flush punch that just caught him right on the button, and there was nothing Ward could do. But he did not look absolutely flustered. Only thing that made him look flustered or made him look like he didn't know what was going on or how to come back out of this fight was that he was trying to take control of the fight by hugging and holding and stuff like that, which I had a huge issue with in the whole fight. Now, this is for the people that rewatch the fight. I'm not talking to someone that watched it live because, as I said, or maybe I haven't said it, but I don't always score fights that are live unless I've gotten past the 4th or 5th round and I got to take my pen and pad out because I'm thinking this fight is going to be close. I mean, there could be a knockdown in between, but at that point, I'll have it scored in my head. Now, I had it scored in my head, but there was a knockdown in the fight, and I didn't score it. So, I was watching the fight very closely. I was counting punches in my head when it was live, but when I rewatched it, I was counting punches very closely. There was no commentary. It's on YouTube. Like I said, I'll leave the link in the description. And there was noise. You could hear the crowd and everything. You could hear people's reactions. And it has a very clear view of where the punches were coming from, who had more sting on their punches, and who was connecting more. I saw Kovalev with a lot more cleaner combinations. He was using both hands, left and right. I had most of the fight for Kovalev. If I was to give the ninth round to Ward, it would have been 3 rounds for him. And it's possible that if I rewatched it, it's possible I could give that round to him. But when I rewatched it, that looked like a tied round. So I basically came out with the same scorecard as Harold Letterman. Round 10, I gave that to Kovalev, so it wasn't exactly the same. But for all judges to have 114, 113, I find that very questionable. It's very questionable because it's basically saying that Kovalev lost 7 rounds, and that is not even true. It's just not true. And I'm at a point where I just feel like Ward was given a decision. He fought a great fight. He fought his fight, and he did what he had to do. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I've seen many different athletes in my time. I've watched many big fights. I've watched a lot of basketball. As you guys know, I always say I'm not an expert, but I do watch a lot, and I'm not young either. I'm not a kid. So I kind of know what I'm talking about here, and to see people respond like how Ward did and say that, like almost come off as if he believes his own lie, it's kind of sickening, to see that, and I really feel like if you haven't rewatched it, if you haven't rescored it, go back and rescore it and try watching the overhead view. If you can't, that's fine. But if you rewatched it and you saw Ward win, then so be it. That's what boxing fans are supposed to do. They're supposed to do their homework, debate, come back with opinions. And of course, if we can't agree, then we can't agree. But, like I said, I had Kovalev winning most of the rounds. The 6th and 7th round was for Ward. I think that the best round was the 9th round. I think that Kovalev won the little wrestling tactics that Ward was trying to engage with the whole fight. And I think in the 12th round, Kovalev finally got sick of it, and he finally showed it. And I really feel like he was trying to put it on the ref's hands and the judge's hands, because he's the champ. He's normally getting roughed up, or people usually hugging him. I've seen him live, I've seen Kovalev live fighting 20 feet away from me, 50 feet away from me. And a lot of times people want to hug the champ, and it's not because they want a picture. It's literally because they want to slow them down, because their hands are too fast, or they're just uncontrollable. They can't hang on with them, so they'll try to hug, and usually that creates survival mode type of fighting. The only people I've seen that usually don't get hugged like that is someone like Floyd, because he's more defensive. But if you're trying to hug someone, it's usually because you're in survival mode, and that happens a lot when you're the champ, and it becomes an ugly fight. Now, I'm not saying that Ward didn't win. I'm saying that my scorecard had Kovalev winning, but I'm not saying that Ward didn't win, because if the judges scored that he won, and the ref scored didn't penalize Ward for hugging and clinching and doing all that kind of stuff, then there's nothing I can say. I don't take away points when I score because someone is hugging, but I do see it as you're doing one negative thing to get a good thing. So it doesn't mean that it's positive. It means you're doing one bad thing to do one good thing. So I don't score against them, but I don't score you hugging. If you're hugging, that's not a scoring tactic. You're not doing anything. It's like a waste of body movement in boxing. If you look at the rules, you're not supposed to do that. So obviously that's not a scoring tactic. It is if the ref is letting you do it, but when it comes to the rules, and when it comes to me looking at a fight, if I see you hugging, that means that you're not trying to score like that. You're trying to use that so you can score. And that means it goes against you when you do score. So, of course, if he jabs and he connects, I score it. But if he hugs and then he jabs, I still score it, but I still see it as like, wow, this guy really, he's looking bad out here. That goes in the body language category, and it makes me feel like that person needs help. He needs help from the ref. He needs help from his own self to score a nice connected shot or a knockdown. And it's fine. Many boxers have done it in the past. Even Muhammad Ali has done it in the past. You watch Ali Frazier too. That's a hug fest. Even the George Foreman fight, that was a hug fest. But if you watch his early career, you can see that Ali was very quick, and he didn't always use hugging as a tactic. Adjusting is a different type of thing for me when it comes to each boxer. Some boxers become greater as they keep winning. Sometimes if they lose, they become better. Sometimes they learn new tricks. But I'm not taking away from anybody that hugs, because I haven't boxed. I've trained a few times, but I haven't boxed. I don't know what it's like to be in the ring, like some boxers. So I'm gonna leave it to a certain extent and not judge in a way where I'm trying to be unfair, because I respect all the wins that Ward has, even if he cheated or even if he used hugging or whatever. He won the fight. He won the fight, and he did it in front of fans. So I respect him. But there are a lot of greats that have done it, and even if they did do it, at least at one time in your career, could you beat someone solidly without having to hug? That's the question, you know. That Cassius Clay, that Cassius Clay, when he was in the beginning of his career, he didn't have to hug because all he had was athleticism, and nobody was ever gonna stop that man, and you weren't gonna catch him. But my whole thing is, if you're using hugging and stuff like that to win, then I'm gonna look at it as a black eye, basically, something that goes against you, that you needed to win. Just to change topics a little bit and not be so much on the fight, and maybe just give an example. Some people talk about the Ali versus Tyson fantasy fight. I honestly believe that Tyson would win if he was fighting Muhammad Ali. But if we're talking about Cassius Clay, if we're talking about the Olympic champion, if we're talking about the magnificent, the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, Cassius Clay, the one that bounced around for 15 rounds, I don't think Tyson would have a chance. And that's why I think Tyson has said it in the past, not only out of just respect, it's just true. You know, and shout out to all my friends that are Mike Tyson fans, that they're huge Mike Tyson fans and probably would have him winning when it comes to that matchup. But I think Ali was more of the holder. He would grab, he would wrestle you. And I think he had a little bit more power and sting in his repertoire when it came to fighting. And, you know, that was the champ, Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? That was the champ. But that was more like warrior style, which is cool, but I don't think you could do that with Mike, with young Mike, which was also a champ and was a warrior and was willing to knock down anybody. And my question to those guys that are still listening and might disagree with me or might just hate what I have to say right now. In a fight between whether it's Mike Tyson versus Ali or Mike Tyson versus Cassius Clay or Mike Tyson with the tattoo on his face, do you really believe that we would need scorecards? Do you really believe we would need CompuBox? Do you really believe we would need commentators? No, we probably wouldn't. And Kovalev versus Ward was a prime example of that. You can see it without having to, judge it too much. All these people that love to bring up the score sheets, it means nothing to me, especially if the judges all scored the same. For Kovalev, it's like you're showing me a paper with a bunch of notes on it. Who cares? I'm not gonna look at a paper with a bunch of notes on it and they all basically add up to the same score. It's like a generic paper with numbers and stuff on it. You're not showing me anything, because you only go to the scorecards unless you disagree or you want to know what rounds a certain judge scored for. And I did look at them. Some of them did not make sense, of course. But my take is, if they all score 114, 113, there's nothing really to look at. And I saw the HBO CompuBox percentages, and I don't agree with them. I do not agree with them. Now, once Notorious Boxing posts his punch count, and I'll have something to gauge with his punch count and HBO punch count, then I'll try to meet in the middle and see who really won the punch count. Because I don't sit there and like count every single shot, because most of the shots aren't always connecting. But I do try to count them if they are connecting. So, if I'm looking at it in the live speed and not slowed down, then most of the time I'm just going to count it and not really try to see if it connected 100%, because it's just the camera, it's BS. And are you really going to judge a round off of one punch? Like, if one guy punched and connected one time and the other guy never connected, are you gonna judge it like that, or are you gonna just judge it from everything, like body language, holding, jabs, power shots, upper body, lower body, face, if the person is damaged, if a punch landed but it didn't really do anything, those things are factors. And to me, those are the reasons. That's the reason why I gave Kovalev the fight. As I said, the 9th round I saw it was a split 10-10. The 12th round I had Kovalev winning the clinch war, as I called it in my notes. Kovalev finally just showed him that he didn't care about his clinching and was just like, look, this is not important. This is important to you, but it's not going to change anything for me. I'm going to keep fighting my style. And in the 11th, there was actually an argument over the clinching, but the ref didn't really do anything about it. There was so much hugging and clinching in this fight, it reminded me of Broner versus Porter. And the crazy thing is that I knew in that fight that Broner was going to get a knockdown. And I knew it was going to be with the left hand as well. But with all that hugging and clinching, it didn't even matter that he knocked him down, because he made the fight look so ugly that it didn't even matter. It was disgusting to watch, and it's crazy because these guys are ripped, they're strong, they talk themselves up, and then look what happens. They don't even show up to fight like a true champion, and it's kind of strange. But like I said, I'm not trying to take away food from any of the boxers' plates, and I respect the win. I respect the decision, and I respect what the officials had to say. But where boxing fans are entitled to their opinions, and that's basically all I had to say. I'm gonna be trying to judge the Lomachenko versus Walters fight. I think that should be a close one, and I have a few out there that I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the Thurman versus Garcia fight. I know it might sound crazy, but I'm looking forward to the Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Frampton fight, the part 2. I'm gonna rewatch that fight again as well, because I thought Leo Santa Cruz had it, but I did rewatch it and not score it, and I saw that Frampton was hitting with harder shots. But anyway, as I said before, this is just me judging off of a rewatch. So let me know what you guys think. Comment below. Share this. Let me know what you guys think, and keep the debate going, keep the opinions going, because I really feel like that's important these days. We can't lose faith in a sport just because there's robberies. There's always going to be robberies in any sport, but we have to keep the communication and the talk going, because then we'll lose the passion if we don't stop. If we do stop having that talk. So everybody's got their opinions. Leave your scores in the comment section, and hit me back. What fights are you excited about? What was your favorite fight of the year? And who's your favorite fighter? Who's your pound for pound number 1? Is it Ward? Is it Triple G? Is it Roman Gonzalez? I hate when they don't say Roman Gonzalez. They gotta put that man up there. He's gotta be up there. That man is amazing. Who else? Terrence Crawford. There's a lot of fighters out there. But anyway, it was good to chat with you guys. Well, you know what I mean. But yeah, hit me back. It's your boy Rex Righteous. Peace.